What's up, everybody? Welcome to another live episode of Lombardi Time Brews. We are drenched and ready to talk to you. Oh, my Lord. So just to give you the quick thing today, right? Yesterday, hot as all friggin' sin. Today, practice started. It was nice for a few minutes, just kind of cloudy, right? But we had heard maybe there's some rain. It's nothing to worry about. It's training camp. And then, oh my goodness, the gates just opened, and then it was a freaking monsoon. LaFleur and the others who, wear a lot more clothes, they were undeterred and just kept it going. I did see a bunch of the reporters dip inside the Don Hudson as soon as that happened, except for I saw Schneiderman and Wes were living it up in the rain like a bunch of us were. So, but huge shout out to all the fans that just remained. Lots of umbrellas, lots of people without umbrellas that just did not care. Good for them. It was wet. I mean, we're talking a solid hour of absolute downpour. And did that affect the offense today? Absolutely, unequivocally. We're going to get to all of that. But Captain Kevels, you're starting off by saying, Scary Gary.
He was scary today. He was on his game. Yeah,
I mean, through 2 days, he is looking downright monstrous. Now, there is some thought to be had with that, because I know, it's going to be the topic of this stream too, but you're going to see it throughout every single headline, how dominant the defense was. And just keep in mind a couple things. One, early camp football is always more advantageous for the defense, right? We see it every year. I think last year it took until practice 6 for the offense to get a win. Okay, so just keep that in mind. 2, no pads right now. 3, rain with receivers who can't catch does make it easier on a defense. Now, did the defense look aggressive? Spectacular even? 100%. But the only thing I'd caution is running with that a bit too far. Keep in mind the full framing of the day. Was the offense still bad? Yeah, no, completely. They were dominated in every single way.
Kevin Kevels saying, a wondrous and very wet duo.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
us. That is so us.
We are here. Also saying, I think Wes got washed a few streets down, to be honest. Bro was floating.
That is a little man. And you know what else I learned today? The people in the red vests, the Packers guest services guys, they don't just automatically get handed an umbrella. They gotta go find one. Just like Packers. You're worth $1 billion. Help them out. All right, so let's get to the news of the day. First of all, 2 little transaction things to tell you about. One, quarterback Jacob Eason, who's actually did some workouts with wide receivers. We talked about that the other day. He actually was signed today. Is a third quarterback being brought in, or technically fourth, indicative of the Love contract not being so close? I don't know. It could be a few things here. One, maybe the Packers are just not happy with Pratt and Clifford getting every single snap. 2, maybe they think this is just a good extended look at a guy that they've looked at before in Jacob Eason. And 3, maybe it's also saying Clifford is struggle bussing right now, and we need to find ourselves some potential options at backup. Let's bring in Eason, because Bowden apparently isn't the guy at long snapper. Anyway, newsflash, the other part of that move was releasing long snapper from the University of Wisconsin, Peter Bowden. He now is let go. So the only long snapper left on the roster is Matt Orzik. Right, all accounts right now, unless they make another move throughout camp, Orzik is the guy for practice. At the very least, he's the guy for the long snapping job. Other transaction that occurred was Royce Newman this morning got, I hesitate to say restructured, more of a reworked contract. They took some of his base salary, converted it into a roster bonus. Ultimately, they dropped his cap number from about $3.2 million down to about the mid 2.4s. Okay, so a few things here. One, none of his 2024 salary is guaranteed. For a dude who's on the roster bubble, that may come into play. 2, it also, with a lower cap number, may make Royce Newman more tradable. I've talked before about how Royce Newman, with all of his experience, 3,000 NFL snaps or so, that could be a guy that some teams who don't have offensive lines that are good, now that the Packers is good right now, they might be looking at. So a lower cap number could ultimately make him more tradable. All things to keep in mind when it comes to Royce Newman.
Captain Kevels saying, I saw Ja finished, or at least was not pulled from practice.
Yeah, it was kind of a under the radar thing. Right at the very end yesterday, Jair Alexander was pulled out of practice. LaFleur mentioned today it was more of an overheating issue. And yesterday, it got real roasty toasty. So it's not totally shocking. But yes, yesterday, Jair did dip right at the very end. It was just some overheated stuff. Today, he was completely good to go. And then Kebble's also saying...
Send Newmans to the Bears. You can have them.
Might be beneficial, especially for Rashawn Gary the way he is right now. But overall, your injury report for today, Marshawn Lloyd did not practice today with that hip injury. LaFleur mentioned this morning in his presser that he doesn't expect Lloyd is going to miss much time. So that's good. Oladapo with the yellow hair, he is still out. Jaden Reed still out. Valentine still out. We found out what he is on the PUP list for. It's his hamstring. So we're used to those. Caleb Jones, same deal. We found out what he's on the PUP for. Hamstring. You're noticing a trend once again. Donovan Jennings still in the PUP as well, so obviously not there. Tucker Kraft too. Zach Tom, yes, he is back. However, as you see all of these headlines about Andre Dillard and how Dillard is not good at pass pro, keep in mind, Zach Tom, basically only doing warm-ups at this point. He's doing some positional stuff, although not all the reps of all the other guys as he works his way back from that torn pec. So Zach Tom, not exactly back in full, and that's why you're seeing so much at this point about Andre Dillard. So let's go. I want to go kickers next. Kickers today was split. It wasn't just one kicker like it was yesterday. The kicking duties today were Anders Carlson and Greg Joseph, each one getting the chance to show off their talents with soggy balls. Anders Carlson ultimately was good. 6 of 6 from 37, 33, 43, as well as 41, 44, 46. Greg Joseph was 5 of 6, almost good with the sogginess. 33, 38, 43. He was wide right on 43, and then 41, 45, 46. So there is your kicking report thus far through 2 days of camp. Carlson, 6 for 6. Joseph, 5 for 6, missing that one from 43. And then Turner yesterday, 4 for 6. So that is where things stand right now.
Kevin Kebble's asking, how is Stokes looking so far?
So yesterday, right, I talked about how there just wasn't a lot of teamwork yesterday, so it was really hard to get assessment. Today, he was good, although I will say it's easy right now to comp him to Valentine since they're obviously competing. Valentine, over the course of 2 days, today he had another pass breakup. Yesterday he chased down Emmanuel Wilson and forced a fumble. It's like Valentine is doing these plays that occasionally pop off to you, that you like a highlight-worthy stuff. Stokes is there. You haven't seen him get burned because the offense hasn't been productive even a little. So that's promising, but ultimately Stokes just has not had the same highlight reel that Valentine has had thus far. Not necessarily a bad thing at all, but it's kind of what we have to go on this early in camp. And when I say that the defense was dominant, okay, here's what I want you to understand. We're not just talking kind of. We're talking if a quarterback got a completion, it was like, ooh, did you see that? They were productive. It was that kind of day. Like a little underneath route for 3 was like, that's one for the offense. The ball is not going anywhere right now. The defensive front is so just massively dominant. I did see real quick right before we hopped on live, Rashawn Gary was asked, every defense wants to have a line that goes and gets the quarterback that's hyper aggressive. What's different now? It's all the same dude. What's different? And Gary basically explained, we don't have to think anymore. Just pin back and go. The root of the Hafley defense is right there. But again, the context that I gave at the beginning, defense should be dominant on a day like today. So they were, and that's wonderful. Let's just not carry the banner too far, is all I'm saying. Okay, now with that being said, listen to this reel of plays. This is basically just a stream of plays. Now, there were sometimes two, one side of the field at Pratt going, the other side of the field at Clifford going. So you kind of bounce back and forth with your eyes and you just write down as much as you see. Here is the string of plays that I was able to write down when my phone was not freaking out from not being able to type with water. So here we go. Clifford picked by Evan Williams. Now, Evan Williams, yesterday, Javon Bullard got all of the number 1 safety reps opposite Xavier McKinney. Today, Evan Williams, his fellow rookie, got a number of those snaps next to McKinney. Noteworthy. Then, Samari Toure. I put on the bottom that Samari Toure needs to try again a different day. Oh, yeah. No, this was not a good day. And I feel like it's going to fly under the radar a lot because a lot of receivers were having issues gripping today, obviously.
I mean, even Romeo Dobbs was...
Dobbs had some issues.
Yeah, he was receiving a punt, and he dropped it. Yeah. Dobbs is one of the best hands on our receiving team.
Yeah.
So there were obviously some issues with the ball being too wet to
Well,
be able to grip.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, when it's like this too, like just making the normal catch is difficult.
Yes.
Making anything of a difficult or a contested catch, forget about it. Well, Toure wasn't catching any of them, really. I witnessed at least 3 drops running routes from Toure.
Yes.
Plus, when it was his turn to go back there and field a punt, granted it was a very low punt and he kind of had to go down for it, but he muffed that punt. So it's like all the receivers were struggling to hang on to anything today. Toure really couldn't, and it did stand out, at least to me. Let's see, Clifford was also picked by Anthony Johnson Jr. when he was getting reps with the safeties. Keep in mind, Clifford was more so going against the 1s on defense,
Yes.
Pratt more so against the 2s and 3s. Then next play, Clifford sacked by Gary. Next play, Valentine, breakup. And next play after that, coming from Pratt on the other side of the field, Joel Wilson, the depth tight end, with a drop on a ball from Pratt. Granted, it was a high throw, nonetheless, still a drop. A.J. Dillon, Matt LaFleur mentioned in his press conference today that A.J. Dillon is looking better than he's ever seen him. And yes, A.J. Dillon no longer Quadzilla, now he's Bizilla. We've talked about that before.
He's an entire bodyzilla.
Yeah, I mean, he looks svelte. Now that you're actually seeing him in person here at camp, you truly do see the difference. Like, this is a dude who no longer looks unproportionate. He looks lean. Dillon does look really good. And there was one play in particular today where he ran up the middle. It was probably one of the offense's most successful plays. And he was able to really burst through the traffic in the middle of the line. That was a very successful run for A.J. Dillon. And then after that, the very next play, Clifford was strip sacked by Wyatt. Opposite side of the field, Pratt tried a screen to Emmanuel Wilson, and if you're looking for an Edgerrin Cooper update, Edgerrin Cooper looked great today, because even on that screenplay, Edgerrin Cooper basically single-handedly just blew it up. Yes, Pratt was under a little bit of pressure, but Edgerrin Cooper made sure that Emmanuel Wilson was not going to hang on to that ball, and he announced it with authority. Valentine got a pass breakup against Pratt. Grant Dubose, very little mentioned Grant Dubose. He had a nice catch that actually broke away today. And if you're looking for a comp between Pratt and Clifford while I'm streaming off these plays, here's what I'm seeing. Granted, Clifford is against Rashawn Gary, etc. Pratt not as often. But Clifford takes the snap and immediately takes off. Like, he's got to find a place to go because he has no time to even finish his drop. It is snap the ball and then holy crap, and he's off. And then he's got to chuck it somewhere, right? Pratt, you see when he snaps, he at least has that second of drop back, hold, find. So there is a marked difference in what the two quarterbacks are facing right now. With that being said, Clifford does look pretty horrendous. So let's keep going in that vein.
Hardcore rushing.
Yeah, he's not helping himself. He's pressing, he's rushing, absolutely. Pratt does look calmer. However, if I had to measure the time of pressure that's coming in, Clifford is getting under pressure quicker.
If I had Rashawn Gary running at me, I probably also would throw the ball away as soon as possible.
Speaking of which, today there was some chirping going on today. Basically, like Kingsley and Egbare, he had a great day today. He basically got back-to-back sacks going against Andre Dillard in pass pro. And then Gary, who wasn't even on the field for that snap, was just standing off to the side, and Gary started like just roaring for Egbare. The offensive line did not exactly take kindly to that. So then the O-line was making some quips to Gary, and then it was the end of the drill anyway, so defense was going to this side of the field, offense this side. Well, Gary and 3 O-linemen didn't exactly split up as everyone else did. Then the O-lineman went, and Gary went back to the O-lineman. Gary was... He was feisty. Yeah, spicy. He was going at him today. And even one of the O-linemen that Gary was tripping with was Elton Jenkins. And it was like, that, if you remember the show Celebrity Deathmatch, those two would be, woo-wee. So, going back to the stream of plays here, after that, Bose had that nice catch. Pratt to Tyler Davis underneath. That was a very nice play. That one, can't lie, that was a nice play to Tyler Davis, who found some opening there. Rashawn would be sack against Clifford. Preston almost home on the exact same play. Next play, Clifford, nowhere to go. Gary would have been sacked. Next play, Clifford, bad pass to Watson, incomplete across the middle. Next play, Wyatt would be sacked as Clifford is evading after the pocket collapsed. Next play, Cooper, pass breakup on pass that would have eventually gotten to Watson. Clifford actually got a throw off. Cooper didn't carry, batted it down. Then the next play, Clifford to Stanley complete. A moderate gain, just a few yards on and out. Hopefully someone didn't die. Then we've got bad snap. So the next play was just a mess. Bad snap to Clifford, then an underthrow from Clifford, then a Toure drop. Everything that went wrong possible for the offense. Next play, Brenton Cox Jr. getting himself a pressure. Potentially it would be sack. Hard to tell on that one on Michael Pratt. Next play, Pratt has time. He actually had time. So he dropped back complete to Ellis Merriweather. Not the perfect throw. Nice low catch from Ellis Merriweather there, showing some hands. And then Pratt to Toure complete. They're basically the only catch of Toure today. Overall, defense handedly won today. And it really wasn't close. Again, with the proper framing and proper understanding that in a monsoon, you expect the defense to be better, right? Early in camp, you expect the defense to be better than an offense without a quarterback, without a right tackle. Keep all of that in mind. Should we be impressed with the defense? 1,000% we should. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. But let's keep the talk about Hafley's a revolutionary and they're going to be top 5.
Yes.
Let's see some more first. That's all I've really got to say. Let's see.
Kebble's saying AJ looks small, but to be honest, he looks springy. I'm glad to see him thick. AJ at least once, though. End of an era, but I'll take it. I think he's just more balanced now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing is, too, even there was that nice play up the middle that I mentioned, but there was another play where it was a sweep to the outside. Right now, it looks like he's better able to complement his strength with his speed. Whereas there have been times in the past, right, where we've talked about A.J. Dillon being so bulky. He's 250 pounds. Why can't he bring down anybody? Yes. Why can't he bore through anybody? Maybe he was too bulky. I don't know. Right now, it just looks like he's so much more svelte and just it's a better, he's able to go speed to strength easier. And that's so apparent in even 2 days. That's the thing that's refreshing.
And I feel like one thing, especially last year when there were a lot of questions about AJ's productivity and, like we were saying, he is this big of a dude. He's got this, he's got trunks for legs, and yet when he hits contact, he's done.
Yeah.
And so I hope that this, I don't know if it changes the center of gravity or if it's just more lean, that he can be able to push through that contact. Because again, there should be no reason why this guy can't break through contact and push through a mass of people. Yeah. So hopefully that this more balanced version of Dillon can allow for that.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it should. And that's the hope, right? That speed to strength can become even better. And that's what it looks like over 2 days. I really, really believe that the Packers running back room, Emmanuel Wilson's going to have to ball out to stand a chance. With the way LaFleur is talking, with the way even Lloyd is talking about how Dillon is the one in the room who knows everything. Yes. It really feels like the Packers running backs is going to be Jacobs, Lloyd, Dillon. Mm-hmm. It feels like Dillon is now a mile ahead for that job.
Kevin Kebble's petition to let Sewell Zoom call in for the chirping session.
I mean, we've talked about that before, right? The Packers defense, even without Zool, should be the chirpiest bunch ever. That'd go be a lot of fun.
Pack Fan Iowa, let's go. So excited for this year to come. Going to be one hell of a team.
I mean, it is. And it's important to keep that in mind, right? As all of the headlines of today are Clifford sucks. Dillard sucks. The offense sucks. Yeah, today they did. Once they get back to full strength, Love is on the field. Tom is at right tackle. We'll see the offense win days too. But yeah, the defense was, like I said earlier, a single completion for 3 yards felt like this achievement for the offense today.
Well, and one thing that I really saw today that really gets me excited for this coming season is just the attitudes of these people. I mean, it was downpouring rain. I don't care what you think. That is not fun. It's not fun to be in. Watching people, I can't imagine it's fun to be running around and doing these drills, getting frustrated because you can't touch people. You know, we're at such the beginning of training camp where that's why when they first get pads on, they can actually hit each other. You know, there's such this release of aggression. We are penting up all this aggression. We're in pouring rain, and you know what these guys are doing on the field? They're yelling, they're hooting, they're hollering, they're getting their energy up, and they're working together. And that just shows the energy and the cohesiveness of this team that I'm super excited to see once we get actually into the season.
I agree with you 1,000%. The attitude was apparent today. And what's cool too is it started it's like there was this little trickle of rain, and then the gates just opened and it went to downpour. And then it stayed downpouring for an hour. But yeah, watching the players, there wasn't like this, man, screw this crap. Like no one was looking around. They stayed in focused. Honestly, the one individual who I kept on, like, I just kept looking at and going, that is a miserable human being, was Jeff Halfley.
Yes.
Like, Halfley was still doing his job, right? But every time that I'd look over at Halfley, it was like his neck was, like, hunched in, like, screw this shit. And, like, whenever he had to talk to a guy, it was always like he'd lean in more. I hate this. He was like the one dude on the field. Like, LaFleur didn't even blink. Halfley was like,
I mean, even Love was out there the entire time.
Yeah.
And he was in a long sleeve and sweats. I think he got a sweatshirt like halfway through the monsoon.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no umbrellas out there.
Yes, there was no hint of like, I want to be done. I don't care about this. Like, I just want to get dry. No, they just kept trucking on.
Yes. And it was kind of a cold rain too. You know how some days on like really hot days, like a rain will feel refreshing and then that lightens up practice and you go play more fun. Like you see guys sliding around and it just becomes fun. This was cold. This is stupid. No one was having fun.
Even when the rain stopped, then it got windy. So then you're cold and now you're just getting like hit by more cold. But they stayed true. They kept going. Yeah. John saying Packers offensive line is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, right now it is. But here's the thing. Like, we have not seen Elton Jenkins get blown up. Rasheed Walker got beat once yesterday by LVN. But other than that, I will say, too, like, there was something today in the offensive line positional drills that, like, Sheed did not do something right because Butkus went at Sheed kind of hard after that. And Sheed had, like, the head down, just, like, over it kind of thing. So, I mean, like, is Sheed off to a stellar camp? No, he got beat once yesterday, whatever the heck happened today. But we also haven't seen him get beat repeatedly. The two, though, that just seems like, man, they're just getting beat every single rep. The obvious one is Andre Dillard. He is getting crushed right now. And we knew that he might. Coming from Tennessee last year as a full-time right tackle, he led the league last year in sacks given up. We knew that this was a possibility with Dillard. He's here to be depth. Remember when he was first signed, we talked about like maybe he becomes a guard because one of the issues is his lateral movement to get out and get pass pro. He's here to be depth. And right now, that's what he's doing. He's filling in at right tackle for Zach Tom, probably the Packers' best offensive lineman who's not even playing. Yeah. So the other thing, too, the proper framing here to understand, too, is yes, right now they are trying to block the D-line, right? But so often in offensive line technique, you talk about pad level, getting your hands under the defender's pads, et cetera, right? Well, they can't do that right now with no pads. So I'm not trying to make an excuse for them. I'm not trying to say anything like that. But like their job right now is incredibly difficult. And so that's something to keep in mind.
Kevin Keppel saying J-Lo's agent tapping the contact paper like the Madagascar penguin meme after today's practice.
Yeah. I'll tell you Zach Tom's is too. For sure. Definitely. All right, everybody. I do believe we are all caught up. We're going to go dry off. We're going to get out of here. So thanks, everybody. Go have a great day. And as always, go Pack, go.